Okay, so when I was thinking about this problem, started just like you started, with a circle. Except in 3 dimensions, what's a circle?
A sphere.
A sphere. So I said, well, what I want to do, and this is where the 3D printing really came in handy, what I want to do is I want to put spheres on all the corners. But let me start by just putting a sphere on one of the corners. And remember I said the side of the triangles was a little bit longer than one?
Yeah.
And we're trying to find everything that has a distance of 1 away, which would be this sphere. So you can see that the length of the sphere coming down the side doesn't quite hit all the sides.
Yeah.
All the sides. So do you see that?
Yep.
And there's some really cool math, even just making this shape. Well, even making this shape, there's some really cool math.
Yeah.
But here I have to actually know the coordinates in space for that top point. Now luckily Mathematica can tell us that. But I still had to know where to put that sphere. Then I had to know the equation of the sphere. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then, so what's the next, what do you think the next obvious thing to do?
Well, you put them on all the corners.
You want to show that shape to the camera a little bit? Move it
Put
around.
them on all the corners.
Look at that shape. Now you might think then
That you have everything.
that you have everything and you just got to figure out how to add the areas of these partial spheres together. Now remember in the 2D example we worked through, each of those circles we had was 1/3 of a circle.
So these are probably 1/3 of a sphere. Maybe.
Well, what do you think looking at it? Do you think this part and the part that gets cut off, do you think that's 1/3 of the sphere?
No, it looks more like 2/3 of a sphere.
Yeah, it looks more than a third, because it's more than half.
Yeah.
Like if I put 3 of those together, I'd have much more than a sphere. In fact, here's 4 of them together, which is a lot more than a sphere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the most important thing is, do you notice anything missing from this, where you say, hey, I think there's more?
Well, what about this intersection bit, where the circles intersect on here?
Yeah, that looks like that's getting closer to the middle here.
Yeah.
So it looks like we could push further away. So what's the geometric idea?
Well, extend the sides, maybe.
Yeah, extend like we did on the triangle, we extended each of the sides. So here we extend each of the faces. And it produces this almost awesome shape.
But it had a bit of a glitch.
Yeah, this is one of the joys of 3D printing. Sometimes it just
Stops.
there's a problem on the
SD card.
on the SD card and it stops. But luckily it stopped after we made the faces.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine this would just be at the top of a sphere.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see the faces pushed out, and there's a lot of math there, by the way. Because you have to figure out how do I push those faces out?
Yeah.
It's easy to draw, and it's easy to hold in your hand. It's fun to hold in your hand, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of math just pushing those faces out and telling Mathematica to do that.
Cool.
So you think we got it all now?
Well, what about this? What about this part? That seems like it's getting close.
Yeah,
Closer than this.
yeah. So there's actually a little bit of a difference on the 3-dimensional one.
Yeah, because you have to add infinitely many circles on the 2D one.
Well, on the 2D one, we just pushed the faces out and had those 3 circles, and we were
Yeah.
done. Here, we had 4 circles, but the 4 spheres. That's the same, and then we pushed the faces up. But now we have this little interesting gap that we need to fill in. And when you fill it in, I made it so the top parts weren't filled in, so you could still see them, and the bottom was filled in.
This looks like our 2D shape on the bottom.
On the bottom, it does kind of look like the 2D shape we had, right?
Cool.
So there you go. Isn't that neat?
Yeah. Very neat.
Very neat. Can you hold it in your hand? And you can now understand what that shape looks like?
Yeah.
And that's how 3D printing helped us here. Bring it in. You can hold it in your hand, but leave it on camera. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And telling the computer how to do this
It's awesome.
is
Pretty cool.
involves a lot of really fun math. So let me ask you this.